Okay, so for this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do a Miles Donovan inspired photo montage in Adobe Photoshop, and I'm just going to show you a couple of Miles Donovan examples. I believe that he actually uses screen printing to make his outcomes, but as we have Photoshop and we don't have screen printing available here, we are going to have a go doing it with Adobe Photoshop, as we can create the effects of his kind of style quite quickly, or maybe some of the effects anyway. So this is my example here that I have created, and I just want to show you a couple of really simple techniques. The first thing I did, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of work backwards and hide some of these things here. So if you just click on the eyes, what happens is you remove the backgrounds, and then you can see what's going on. So the first thing I did was I found a picture of a bus and I removed the background. So if you haven't worked out how to do that yet, you need to go back and watch the removing the background tutorial that I have made, because I'm not going to cover that in here. And then in order to get this image onto that document, I literally just dragged it like so, and then to resize you need to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and then you get these little handlebars and you can drag them out. And what you need to do is make sure that you hold down Shift when you drag, because otherwise it will not resize the object properly and you'll get a weird distorted shape. I'll show you like this, which is not what you want. So I don't need to actually do that because I've done it already. But just in the benefits of just showing you how I got this first effect, I'm going to have a quick go here like this. I'll put this in front of the other one so you can't see, and then you can compare the two in a minute. So the next thing I did, in order to get rid of all of these colours, there's too many colours going on in here at the moment and it's making it all just seem like a photo. It isn't starting to look a little bit more like an illustration, and it's really very easy. All you do is you go to Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation here, and just click on Colourise, and then you can slide up the various sliders to get the desired effect. And I decided to keep the whole bus red, in keeping with the fact that it is in fact a bus. So as you can see, I've just done that there. Now over here, this is the layers palette. If you're unfamiliar with this and you haven't got this open, you need to open it now. So go to Window, and everything that you'll need is in here. So you can go down to Layers, click on the layers palette, and you'll open this up like so, and then you can see that you will have dragged this onto your background. So you should probably only have one layer, your background layer and your layer of the bus that you've just dragged in. I'm going to hide that because my other one's underneath. So that's a really simple technique, just to kind of, and that's one of the basic things that's going to provide the background for this tutorial, is just being able to colorize your objects. The next thing that I did was I found an underneath layer, and that was a picture of a train. And what I did with that one was I went to Image, Adjustments. You need to make sure that you're clicked on that layer in order to work on that layer. So you see how the layer has become blue now I've clicked on it. That means I can edit within that layer. So Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and then all you can do is actually just take the saturation down, and that will make your image black and white. So this was actually a colour image, and I took the saturation down. In fact, I can show you one here. Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, take the saturation down, and you can see it goes black and white. So that's what I did with the train background, and I laid that up. So I wanted to have a couple of different images in the background first of all before I did anything else. You can see that that's on normal, this is on normal. The next thing that I'm going to show you how to do is by layering up some of these things in here first. So I'm going to bring these back in. So basically with this shape here, what I've actually done, and I'm just going to unlock them. I've locked them so that they won't move. So if you see I'm trying to grab them, they won't grab. An easy way to do that, if you want to make sure that they don't move, is to click this button here, and that will lock it. And what I can do is just click them again and they'll unlock then, and I can show you what I've done with these layers. So this one here is another different method that I'm going to show you for this technique, and that is working with the layer blending modes. And what you can do is you can have an impact on how each layer interacts with the layer underneath it, and at the moment I've set this one to a multiply layer blending mode, and what that means is it actually works with the layer underneath and hides any of the white in the picture. So if I put it back on normal, you'll see what I mean. So this image actually has a white background normally, and what I've done is I've set the layer blending mode to multiply here, and it's got rid of the white background, and you can see through it to the image underneath, which gives quite a nice effect. Then the next thing that I did was very simple. I just literally clicked on my shape, and if when you click it doesn't select the right layer, you can come over here and make sure that this is selected. What that's telling you is that you can automatically select a group or layer by clicking within the layer selection on your thing. If I didn't have that on and I tried to click there and I was on a different layer, say I was on the bus layer, and I tried to click here, you see it's still on the bus layer, so when I try to move this, the bus is going to move, which is what we don't want. So I'm going to undo that move, make sure this is selected so that when I click here it will select it in here, which it has done, and then if you hold down Alt you can drag your shape out to create another one, and simply that's all I did. So I then had these two other shapes, one of which I've colorized to make it go red, and that started to build up the kind of the shapes and pattern within my actual design. And then the next thing I did was I found another picture. Where's my picture gone? I worked with a picture of an aeroplane, and for this one I made it go black and white, and then simply all I did was just I edited the opacity. So that's 3 different things so far that I've shown you how to do. I've shown you how to edit the layer blending modes, which is here, in here. I've showed you how to change the opacity of an image, and I've also showed you in image adjustments, hue saturation, how to actually colorize an image or make it black and white. So those are the kind of basics of this tutorial today, and then I just built up by adding a few more different layers in. Again, this is just on normal. I then added a few little other things. This layer here, the blending mode is set to overlay, and what you can do is you can try different things. So you can try putting it on screen. You obviously lose a bit of the colour on there. If we go to vivid light, we get a bit more information occurring. You might decide that you like that. Difference makes it go all round the wrong way colours wise. I can't remember what I had it on. I think I just had it on overlay. And then what it actually is, if I put it on normal, and you can see, is it's actually a ticket, a train ticket. So I could leave that on normal if I wanted to maybe just take the opacity down so that you could see a bit better what it was. And then I just copied that out again as I did with the other one, and then I found a picture of a tube map that I overlaid over my picture of my train, and then I think that is pretty much what I did. So I had these over here, and then I think this ticket I had, I had slightly over. Don't know, but you can play around with overlaying. The other thing that's really important that you might need to know about is how to reorder the layers, and all you need to do to reorder the layers in case you wanted to have your bus at the background for some reason is these are actually stacked in the order. So the top one up here, that's the top layer, and then this one down here is the bottom layer, and what I can do is I can literally just click on one and drag it till it's between the layer, and you'll see that where it kind of jumps in between there and it highlights in between the layer, that's kind of saying that it has actually landed between those. And then if you put it right the way down the bottom, it will then go behind all your other layers, and that is a good way to reorder the layers so that you've got them in the way that you want. So just have a play around with the layers, blending modes, have a play around with the opacity, have a play around with moving your objects around with the movement tool, resizing them with, let me just show you again, edit, transform, scale to resize, and have a little go creating a Miles Donovan inspired photo montage.